You're about to experience the chilling tales of three dolls that are far from innocent playthings. These narratives will not only tap into your deepest fear, but they will toy with it, leaving you terrified long after the video ends. We've carefully chosen each of the stories to deliver an unnerving experience like no other. Let's prepare ourselves to witness the terrifying, unsettling world of haunted dolls. Number 1. Dark Chorus of the Marionettes. Nestled within the secluded alleys of an antiquated hamlet stood a quaint yet oddly eerie toy shop. This shop, veiled in a shimmer of nostalgia and obscured by the dust of time, held a peculiar fascination for children and adults alike. It was infamous not its assortment of toys, but for a singular attraction, a set of marionettes, renowned as the Dark Chorus. Something about their tiny wooden structures and beautifully painted faces intrigued and frightened the locals at the same time. Life percolated in and around the tiny hamlet, except for the haunting quiet that enveloped the toy shop as twilight fell. Whispered among the villagers were tales of a strange melody, a dark chorus that echoed from the shop during the still of the midnight hour. Deep, unsettling tones, they claimed, could be heard, resonating in perfect harmony, setting the darkness aquiver. Rumors pointed inevitably towards the marionettes, adding a chilling layer to the macabre charm that held the villagers in its thrall. The residents spoke in hushed voices of incidents where they had glimpsed the marionettes with their strings, seemingly moved and gestured of volition through the dimly lit shopfront, creating an eerie display of the lifeless, imbued with life. Among the skeptics of the village was a young man, George, driven by scientific curiosity. A rationalist at heart, George laughed at the claims and dismissed them as old wives' tales. Determined to unveil the truth, he planned a late-night visit to the toy shop, intent on unraveling the mystery behind the marionettes. On a cold, moonlit night, George set foot in the store. Armed with his flashlight and resilience, he navigated through the rows of aged, discarded toys. He made his way towards the marionettes, now lifeless in the eerie glow of the night. The silence in the room was deafening, with every tick of the wall clock echoing through the room like a cruel, mocking chortle. Just as George was about to dismantle one of the marionettes, a sudden frisson of cold swept through the room, the quiet air punctuated by the creaking sound of wooden joints. Turning around to his horror, he found all the marionettes animated, their painted faces staring at him intently. Mustering all his courage, George leaned in closer to one of the marionettes, when they all broke into a haunting chorus, their wooden bodies swaying eerily to the rhythm that echoed through the silent night. The harmonious notes drifted into the darkened street, suffusing the village with the sinister lullaby of the marionettes, validating the villagers' tales. Terrified to the marrow, George stumbled out of the toy shop, the chill of the night serving as a stark reminder of the dark chorus he had survived. The following day, a shaken George could only confirm the villagers' tales, no longer a skeptic, but a believer of the dark chorus of the marionettes. The quaint toy shop and its eerie residents henceforth were left untouched, the chilling melody serving as a constant, harrowing reminder that there are some mysteries better left unsolved. Number 2. The Uncanny Carousel of Porcelain Figures. On an old, abandoned fairground on the outskirts of a forgotten town, the last vestige of festivities once held sits weather-worn and forgotten. A carousel, its once vibrant paint chipped and faded, and the figures, a collection of whales, unicorns, horses, and snakes, all made of delicate porcelain. The carousel hadn't moved for years, covered by layers of dust, its music box silenced by time. Yet locals whispered stories about it, chilling tales of spinning figures and ghostly tunes resonating through the silent night air. It was said that on some moonlit nights, you could hear the ethereal sound of carousel music, filling the abandoned playground with a chilling presence. One unnerving account comes from a local teenager, Derek. A daredevil by nature, Derek decided one night to conquer his fear and the town's haunting tale. With nothing but the light of his dimming flashlight and the dare of his friends, he ventured into the desolate fairground. As he moved closer to the carousel, the ground seemed to hum beneath his feet. Cold and trembling, he approached the worn-out contraption, its porcelain figures looming ominously in the dark. He reached out, his fingers inches away from touching a porcelain unicorn, when suddenly it sprung to life. The music box started playing a ghastly melody, high-pitched and eerie, as the carousel began to spin. Derek froze in fear, his heart pounding as the figures whirred by like ghostly apparitions. He could hardly believe his eyes when the porcelain figures on the carousel began to move, not just with the platform, but independently. The unicorn's head turned towards him, eyes glowing eerily in the dark. The horse next to it reared, its mouth opening to reveal sharp, monstrous teeth. The figures were no longer innocent porcelain creatures. They had transformed into something grotesque, a twisted interpretation of a child's toy. Without warning, the hands of a porcelain figure reached out and wrapped around his wrist, the grip icy and unnaturally strong. Derek screamed, struggling to free himself as he felt himself being drawn towards the spinning carousel, his resistance greeted with sinister laughter echoing in the distance. Just as he thought he was lost, the grip loosened and he stumbled backwards. Gasping and panting, he ran out of the fairground, leaving behind the eerie spinning carousel and its porcelain figures. The chilling encounter left Derek in a state of shock, and he never went near the fairground again. The townsfolk heard of his ordeal, and the chilling tale amplified the ghostly reputation of the creaky carousel. To this day, it waits in abandoned solitude, rocking in the night air, the uncanny carousel of porcelain figures, waiting for the next curious soul to pay it a visit. Number 3. Sinister Lullaby from a Baby Doll. In the gloomy corners of a toy store, an unpretentious shelf housed a delicate baby doll. She was a beauty with her alabaster skin, lustrous curls, and cobalt blue gaze. Dressed in Victorian finery and swathed in a lace bonnet, she exuded an eeriness that was majestically uncanny. And she could sing a lullaby, a beguiling melody that would lull even the most restless of minds into a serene slumber. Her purchasers always thought her to be the perfect companion for their child, until the unsettling oddities started surfacing. One such purchaser was the Smith family, who bought the doll for their daughter Emily, a tender-hearted girl with a fondness for dolls. The nights that followed were anything but normal. Emily's room echoed with the lilting melody of a lullaby that seemed to resonate from nowhere. The source, the porcelain figure of the baby doll. At first, the tune was soothing and lulled Emily to sleep. It evoked an odd sense of tranquility that lulled them into letting their guard down. But then, things became eerie. The lullaby grew louder, more incessant. The melody undulated with undertones of wicked glee, the cadence from composed to chilling. Unable to explain the abnormal scenario, the Smiths confronted Emily, who appeared befuddled, yet insisted that the doll sang to her every night, a terrifying lullaby that now haunted her dreams. Isolated and intimidated, Emily grew pale and weak. She refused to make eye contact with the doll, her previous joy now replaced with a haunting dread. Emily became the ghost of her former self, her lackluster eyes offering an insight into a terrifying ordeal. Mrs. Smith could bear it no more. The doll was put away. Yet the lullaby lingered, now a sinister whisper drifting through the narrow corridors, an incorporeal enigma they couldn't escape from. In a desperate attempt to solve their predicament, the Smiths returned to the toy shop. Much to their bewilderment, the shop owner casually explained that the doll was not manufactured with any features that would enable it to sing. The revelation was met with stunning disbelief. The Smiths were left grappling with an enigma too grave to fathom and a choice too distressing to contemplate. That night, they decided to abandon the doll on the deserted outskirts of their town. As they bid the spectral doll adieu, they heard something that made their blood curdle. The melody of the sinister lullaby resonated in the silent night, a sign-off from the paranormal doll. But the doll lay motionless before them, the clear night devoid of any other sources of sound. A chilling breeze swept across the lonely dirt road. The lullaby was finally silenced. The Smiths drove away, their hearts pounding with fear and relief. But one question lingered in their unsettled minds. If the doll wasn't singing, then who or what was? We're positive these eerie tales about dolls have manipulated your fear just right. Our aim is always to chill you to the core, so if tonight's terrifying tales did the trick, please do us a favor and hit that like button. Remember to subscribe to our channel for more nightmarish tales to keep you up at night. Thank you for inviting us into your nightmares, sweet dreams, and until our next spooky encounter, good night.